Hey there and welcome. Today, we are going to demystify a term that can sound, well, pretty intimidating if you're a small business: ESG. Environmental, social, and governance. But here's the thing: we're going to show you how you can make a real positive impact and do it resourcefully without needing some giant budget. So let's dive right in. Okay, so when you hear ESG, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it like big shot consultants charging a fortune, super complex audits, maybe a full-time sustainability officer you just can't afford? Look, that's a really common feeling, and honestly, it's the barrier that stops so many amazing businesses from even taking the first step. But here's the deal. That perception, it's really holding you back. Yeah, it might seem like this massive, crazy, expensive project, but the reality for a small business is totally different. It's all about being smart, being resourceful. It's about taking clear, actionable steps. This is a shift in your mindset, not a black hole for your bank account. So here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we're going to bust that big budget myth wide open. Then we'll look at what you can do right inside your own four walls. After that, we'll zoom out and talk about your wider ecosystem. And finally, we'll get into building an ESG culture that sticks and prove how tiny steps can lead to a huge impact. All right, first things first, let's tackle the biggest hurdle head on: this myth about needing a huge budget. Look, effective ESG isn't about how much cash you throw at the problem. It's a mindset shift. It's like putting on a new pair of glasses and looking at your existing operations, and suddenly spotting all these environmental, social, and even governance opportunities that were right there the whole time. So where do you begin, right? The easiest, most affordable place is right inside your own business. Seriously, before you start worrying about your suppliers or the community, just focus on the things you can directly control and influence every single day. This is all about building a really strong foundation first. And the absolute first step is measurement. It's an old saying, but it's so true. You just can't improve what you don't measure. Think about it. Without some kind of baseline, how will you ever know if your efforts are actually working? But the good news here is this does not have to be complicated at all. And you know what the best part is? You can start measuring for free using data you probably already have lying around. Just start by tracking your electricity, water, and waste bills each month in a simple spreadsheet. There are free online tools from places like the EPA or even Google that can help you estimate your carbon footprint. Just this one simple act of tracking, it will immediately help you spot patterns and find places where you can improve. And hey, those improvements, they often pay for themselves pretty quickly. One of the absolute fastest wins is energy efficiency. I'm talking about simple changes like switching over to LED lighting or installing a few motion sensors. These things often have a payback period of less than 3 years. And after that, they stop being a cost and actually start putting money back into your pocket. You also don't need to go out and hire a dedicated ESG manager. No way. Instead, you can empower ESG champions from right within your own team. Find an employee who's really passionate about the environment and let them lead a little energy audit, or ask someone else to organize a community volunteer day. You could even tap someone for the G in ESG, governance, to research a simple ethical sourcing policy. This creates so much engagement and spreads the responsibility around, all without adding a new line to your payroll. Okay, so once you've started making some solid progress internally, it's time to look outward. Your impact doesn't just stop at your front door, right? Let's explore how your business can actually influence its entire ecosystem, from your suppliers all the way to your local community. Believe it or not, your purchasing power is one of your most effective ESG tools. It really is. Next time you talk to your suppliers, just start asking them about their own practices. Hey, do you guys use recyclable packaging? Or what are you doing to reduce energy use? Just asking the question can create this incredible ripple effect, nudging your entire supply chain in a better direction. And this brings up such a crucial point. ESG is not only about the planet, it's also about people. That's so true. The S in ESG for social is a massive opportunity for small businesses to really shine, and often it costs very little to do so. We're talking about low-cost but super high-impact actions that build your brand and really boost employee morale. Things like organizing a team volunteer day, making sure your pay scales are fair and equitable, or partnering with a local school. These things matter so much to your team and your customers. And honestly, they're key to attracting and keeping great talent in today's world.
You can even get creative and combine your environmental and social goals. Just picture a local bakery donating its unsold bread to a community kitchen at the end of the day. What's happening there? Well, they're reducing food waste, they're cutting their own disposal costs, and they're building incredible goodwill in the community. It is a total win-win-win.
All right, so you've started making some changes, which is awesome. But the big question now is, how do you make it last? This next part is all about embedding ESG deep into your company's DNA so it just becomes a natural part of how you operate, not just some one-off project you did that one time. Okay, first things first, let's just get rid of this idea right now. You do not need to produce some massive, glossy, 100-page sustainability report. Just no. That's for the giant corporations. For a small business, it's complete overkill, and frankly, it feels a little inauthentic. Instead, the alternative is so much more effective. Just create a simple, honest, one-page snapshot that you can share on your website or LinkedIn. Highlight maybe 3 to 5 key things you're tracking, celebrate the progress you've made, and be open about what you're aiming for next year. I promise you, that kind of transparency builds way more trust than any glossy report ever could. And finally, you've got to turn these actions into a culture that feeds itself. Ask your team for new ideas every quarter. Make it fun. Run some friendly competitions between departments to see who can reduce the most waste. And this is so important. Celebrate every single small win. That recognition is what builds momentum and really makes the culture stick. Okay, so let's bring this all together. If you forget everything else from our chat today, please remember this. ESG for a small business is all about taking small, smart, strategic steps that add up to a really big impact over time. It really just boils down to these 3 simple keys. First, you need intent. That's just making the decision to start. That's it. Second, consistency. You got to track your progress and take action regularly, not just one time. And third, visibility. Share your journey, share your progress in a simple, transparent way. So as we wrap this up, the question really isn't if you can do ESG on a budget. I think we've seen that you absolutely can. The real question, the one I want to leave you with, is this. What is the very first small step your business is going to take?